Hello, hello, and welcome back to Minotaur Hotel. We're still talking to Asterion about things. What was your favorite food?
My favorite food? A master would not worry about that. I eat the leftovers. Anything will do for me. And it's not like I can die from starvation. Ultimately, it doesn't really matter.
But surely there are things you prefer, or foods you won't eat. Any allergies?
Well, if Master truly wishes to know, I don't. I'd rather not eat beef, and I have not for thousands of years now. It would be cannibalism. So, it's usually poultry and fish for me, or... Well, I did hunt wild goat with my brothers back in Crete. I liked it a lot. It's one of my favorite foods by far. I don't get to eat meat often when I was a child. It was a luxury of sorts, and the shipments to the labyrinth rarely had any. I would rot on that way. It would rot on the way, so they didn't even try. Goat aside, for the longest time, oats were the best thing I could get. Even today, I have a liking for porridge.
I don't think I've ever actually had porridge. I'm moving the microphone, sorry. I don't know, what's porridge made out of? Is it oats? Porridge is one of those things where I hear about in media, and I've just never had it. So I don't even know if it's, real. Porridge. No, definition? Yeah.
Porridge.
Yeah, that's right. A dish consisting of oatmeal or another meal or cereal boiled in water or milk. Interesting. Okay. I've heard of rice porridge, and I know that that's just rice, right? And have I had that? I probably have at some point in my life, probably as a child, and it was just kind of why would I have this when I could have an actual rice dish? Or fuck you, what if I just want some sukiyaki? And that's just better, right? Any fans of sukiyaki in the audience, or are you more of a shabu shabu kind of guy? Oh man, there's just no shabu shabu or sukiyaki places in my area, and I'm always but why? And the answer is that white people wouldn't know what to do with themselves at a restaurant like that.
Goat aside, for the longest time, there was a porridge, right, yes, that's what I was reading. And I have a sweet tooth. I always liked fruit and honey, even as a kid. But back in 1940, there were so many options. Master Jean insisted from the start of his mandate that we needed French pastries daily. Traditional baguettes, croissants, and pain au chocolat. Sure, for breakfast with jam, macaroons every Sunday, and tarts after lunch. Making a traditional baguette is no simple matter. I spent many months trying to make a single one, which pleased his palate. He allowed me to eat the leftovers every once in a while. Just the thought makes me salivate. I'm so glad.
He doesn't finish the thought. Asterion keeps his eyes fixed on you, his ears and tail flicking lazily.
Is there anything else you wish to know, Master? You need only ask.
Oh, I have to ask about this. Okay.
Life back in Crete. Now that my memory is hazy. To say the least, it's been a long time. It's been so long, I'm not sure if I remember it even correct. If my memory is even correct. But Crete was quite the power back then. That was before Athens gained traction. I was raised in the palace of Knossos. It was an immense, sprawling building, perhaps the greatest the world had ever seen at the time. I had many siblings. We played when I was allowed to. I couldn't leave the palace often, but I used to sneak out with my brothers to go hunting wild goats. I was swift-footed. My hooves helped me cross Crete's hard, volcanic soil. I had a mother and a father, like any other child. My mother's name was... Yep, that. She, in retrospect, I realized she wasn't all there. In the head, I mean. I didn't quite understand it back then, but I don't think she liked seeing me. I remember her. I reminded her of what she had done, and of her reputation. My adopted father was King Minos. Assuming I wasn't misbehaving, he treated me well for the most part, because I was scared. Sacred. Then I got sent to the labyrinth. I don't remember how old I was, maybe 12 or so. My sister, Ariadne, convinced father. She said I could become dangerous. It took a while, but he was swayed. I was carried off and left there with only an axe to fend for myself, in that labyrinth built by the artisan Daedalus. That's what life for me was like in Crete. Isn't it curious how we hold on our memories of childhood? I've existed for thousands of years now. I died young, before my 20th birthday, and yet so much of who I am comes from those 2 decades. I often wonder what my life would be like if, were I not a hybrid monster. For starters, Mother wouldn't have lost her mind. My sister wouldn't have tried to convince Father to send me off. I would have had a normal childhood. Make no mistake, life back then was not easy, and dying young was not out of the ordinary. A land like Crete had to keep itself armed, too. Had I been born fully human, I could have died young of disease, or in early adulthood in combat. Still, that would have been preferable to what I went through. Had I not been sent off to the labyrinth, the gods would not have sentenced me for my cowardice. I'd still be in Hades, in the Asphodel meadow, where I was supposed to be. Hades, perhaps Master wishes for me to tell memories of Crete. I do have quite a few, but I have more from Hades. I was welcomed there, as all souls are, of course. I was no hero, and would never see the Elysian fields. That's where heroes went to. But the Asphodel meadow, where regular souls were sent to, was quite pleasant. I even had a job there. The god of the underworld picked me to take part in the border patrol. It was a simple enough duty, patrolling the frontier to catch souls attempting to escape.
Excuse me.
I shared housing with a cousin. I never knew I had a cousin until then. His name was, Gurion, and we had a lot in common. The god of the underworld, Lord Hades himself, took a liking to me. We'd often train together, and he taught me the underworld's fighting style.
Asterion looks down to the counter and drums his fingers on it, lost in thought.
I was a good patrolman. I wouldn't have minded staying there. That's about it, I suppose.
With the conversation naturally exhausting itself, you both let inertia. That's what that is, right? Inertia? I want to double check. Why should it be like inertia? And I just I don't. Inertia.
Inertia.
got there. Uh, inertia is a property of matter. Uh, Yo, so like my sister was telling me about like a time when she was in college, before she dropped out. And like I think it was, she said it was in a science class. I don't remember if it was like physics or something. Probably was. Maybe not. I don't know. And she had talked about how like there was a day in which she was saved by Bill Nye the Science Guy, because randomly in class the teacher called on her and asked, "What do you know about inertia?" And she just responded with, "Inertia is a property of matter," which is a line in the opening of Bill Nye the Science Guy. So she remembered that, and her teacher was like, "Yeah, okay," and then moved on with the lesson. So it was a whole thing. Real fun. We both let inertia carry you into a comfortable silence. The warmth, buzz of alcohol in your system does much to ease the day's drudgery, as does the newly rekindled hearth fire's visual crackle. The seats bear your weight admirably. Despite their age and the rustic scent of wood smoke, the fine leather upholstery makes relaxation effortless as breathing. Your thoughts, though you and Asterion are the only current occupants of the lounge, things seem a little livelier than the stark row of unclaimed stools would suggest. With the hotel's improving condition, each one brims over the potential for future patrons to serve. There's something about Firelight's ability to captivate the heart that harkens back to time immemorial, as though writing into the bones by the struggles of your ancestors. The dancing shadows stir and impute an impulse that your mind can only dimly direct. For a moment, Asterion presence is so insubstantial that you feel alone with your thoughts. Out of the corner of your eye, you see this bovine brow crease, eyes slowly flickering back and forth between you and the fireplace. His mouth opens soundlessly for a moment, but closes just as quickly, as though the subtle perturbation of the air would be enough to shatter the idyllic sense. The soft light Asterion's Countess grows soulful, and then cold and lucid. Perhaps a quirk of his immortal body, he seems to sober up more quickly than you were expecting, his gaze finally setting on the fire with a stone-faced focus of a trained guard, alert, but betraying no further sign of his feelings. You cannot say how many hours you two have spent before the fireplace, looking with simple, rapt attention at the fire, heedless of the passage of time, the greedy moment stretching on as long as the compulsion of your biology will allow it to. The feeling of your chin hitting your chest eventually jolts you from the quiet reverie. You didn't even notice you're starting to nod off. Blurry-eyed, whether with inebriation or fatigue, you check your phone. It's almost midnight. Asterion furtively steals a glimpse at the clock on your smartphone screen, but raises no comment about it. Curiosity laid way by duty, he speaks at last.
It is quite late, master. Would it please you if I prepared dinner before you retire for the night? This time I can cook you a proper meal.
Huh. You can see no reason to refuse Asterion's offer. The walk back to your quarters is blessedly brief, and you quickly take a seat on the couch and make ready for your evening meal. While your Minotaur manservant prepares your dinner, there is little to do except lounge on the couch and savor the smells that waft from the private kitchen. You continue to lapse in and out of consciousness every so often, torn between the gnawing hunger in your belly and the sudden weight of your eyelids. Asterion's presents you with your food in short order, bringing a tray of ham steak and mashed potatoes to the couch to spare you the need to walk to the table. Well, that sounds good. To your tipsy, sleep-fogged brain, it seems a very veritable feast. You tear into it with a gusto of a starving man. As you sit up and start to eat, Asterion seems faintly content to see you enjoying his cooking. But old habits die hard. Nevertheless, the Minotaur bows dutifully before cantering away to let you enjoy your meal in solitude. No, come back. What if I want to eat with you sitting next to me? Or if I ate my meal sitting in your lap? That sounds comfy. He is gone before you can think to ask him to join you, and thought you knew he is but a simple short a shout away. You think better of asking anything else of him. Once your hunger is sated, sleep is upon you in a moment. You set the tray down at the side of the couch and close your eyes. The last sounds you hear are the faint click of Asterion's hooves against the floor, and the jingling of silverware as he carries your leftovers back to the kitchen. A slow, neaking clop raises your semi-conscious brain through the haze of fitful sleep, followed by a sudden sensation of warmth and a gentle pressure across your entire body. You soon fall into a deeper, easier slumber. Interesting. Arrival. No. The doorknob clicks behind Asterion. His eyes, I can't read right now. It's fine. Don't worry about it. It is what it is. His smile persists as he holds on to the warmth from the night. The Minotaur's cheeks hurt from smiling, an unfamiliar sensation after the decades locked away. His throat, too, is sore from talking. Whatever he tries to say only comes out as a raspy croak now. His recovering body surprises him at times. How it doesn't hurt to move anymore. How quick he is, even at a slow pace. His renewed strength surprises him. He had a difficult time handling the fragile glass and small, delicate tools back in the lounge. Similarly, closing the door without slamming it behind him just now was tricky. And yet, now he is alone in his room. There is silence. And a silence like this, after any night when one's cheeks end up hurting from smiling, is as oppressive as being whisked away from paradise. Silence can be unforgivable. The master's voice and breathing, the slight shift in furniture. I always pronounce it furniture, but that's not where the U is. It's furniture. Okay. As he moved around the room, the sounds of his own hoof steps, it's all gone. There are no eyes watching him, nothing to say or do to his barren bedroom. He lays on his bed, looking up to the ceiling. The bedroom has no windows, just a single light bulb shining overhead. Asterion swishes his tail. The tuft of hair at the end provides him with a single sound. Oh, that's, yeah, okay. He clutches his pillow beneath his head. His fingers contort into the shaking fists, and the light imprints a stain on his eye. The corners of his healed mouth hurt. It's been decades since he smiled this much. Let alone, there are no distractions from the dark thoughts about that master, and all humans for that matter. Humanity is a sentence by itself, he thinks. To only be half human, and to be ruled over by those I'll never be like. The Minotaur wonders how large is the gap that keeps men from going wild. Is it easy to show goodness at first, like Clement did? But eventually they grow bored. And bored men are dangerous indeed. How long will it take for this master to learn? The Minotaur wonders. It usually starts simple enough. At first, he becomes their plaything, a doll. But it won't stop there. Humans seek new thrills often. Clement was a special case, a man who started out good, but went wild like none before. But yes, there were many masters who had the same seed in them, only to germinate slower. Even Master Jean had it, to an extent. There was that time. Asterion jolts up, stopping himself from progressing down that road. There are thoughts too dark for such a late hour. And what does it matter now, thinking about the well-buried dead? His mind goes back to the current master. A single good night has not made up for the terrible past and a frightening future. Asterion thinks back to Argos and his contract, and how the master handled it. Master Mr. Josh signed it. Was there a catch? It's quite possible, based on past experiences. But whatever the risk may be, Asterion feels a relief flowing through him. A master is all the more dangerous the smarter he is. It is a mercy that, in all those years, no human had tried to use the hotel's power to do evil to others outside. Even the worst lords were content to use it for their own hedonism. The Minotaur keeps thinking himself to exhaustion, analyzing every possibility regarding this new master. He does not notice drowsiness setting in, nor sleep's merciful embrace. Okay, so the Hades chapters are like him. Okay, it's interesting. The Minotaur dreams. A field of white flowers swayed under a chilly breeze. He was lying face down, or on the soil, and the flowers stalk and leaves tickled his back, as if trying to rouse him from sleep. I really like this track. I think it's played a couple times already, but I really enjoy it. The soil was damp and smelled of petrichor. We're gonna find out. Petrichor. Cool.
Petrichor.
What the fuck is that word?
Petrichor.
Petrichor?
Tricor.
Okay. Okay. A pleasant smell that frequently accompanies the first rain after a long period of warmth, dry weather. Okay, I've literally never heard that before, but it's fine. Petrichor and dense vegetation. Asterion caresses it, scratches it, felt the sand's water seep into his fur. Everything hurt. With every heartbeat, his head and eyes were hammered. His whole body burned in exhaustion, dizzy and nauseous. But above all, his neck. It burned as if it seared a hot metal wire strangling him. The Minotaur tried breathing, but it was as if his lungs couldn't pull in any air. It would have made him despair, were it not for the overwhelming pain distracting him. Time passed. How long he could not tell. Asterion had only the soil, damp and aromatic, and the flowers swayed above him. He dug into the loomy ground. Loamy? Okay. The coarse texture slipping around his fingers made the pain bearable. And then a chill ran from his skull down his spine and to the tip of his tail. He breathed a lungful of air, and he could hear his own ragged grunts and of relief. The Minotaur flicks his ears as his full senses returned. The swaying wind, he could hear it again, now alongside the rustling leaves. He propped his chest up, supporting himself on his burning forearms, and taste came back to him. Iron. He coughed and cold, dark blood poured out of his mouth. It fell on the white fur of his hand. His tongue, yes, remained coated in the black oil. It was bitter tasting, like the forage's fumes smelled. He knew the scent well. As he tried to gather himself, the blood dripped down to the soil. His fur remained matted with red while the dark oil dripped down. Cursed blood, he thought. But something else had come to mind as well. The chill that brought him back. It was under his tongue, a hard, icy lump. He tried to spit it out to no avail. His insides lurched, and he lost control. He retched, but nothing would come out. It was another hour before he managed to stand up and see the horizon. There was no sky above, only sharp edges, rocks pointing down like knives. The horizon itself was painted with serpentine rivers, their water crashing around and leaving foaming trails. The land was dark, and yet light seemed to seep from all surfaces. The ceiling, stalactites? Is this stalactites? That one word? What? Yes, okay, it is that word. Stalactites? Yes, stalactites. That is how it's pronounced. I do remember. I'll click the button anyway.
Stalactite.
Got there. Shown with turquoise, the field of flowers blinked with the white light while the breeze blew by. The soil itself shone with a subdued, almost royal purple, and the breeze had a freshness to it. The river's crashing water filled the air with little droplets. Water dripped here and there from the ceiling, and with an almost lazy grace, like a god slipping gifts to the people below from above. A man waited by the river shores, looking up to the Minotaur. He beckoned, and right there, Asterion's mind was set at ease. The beautiful land was his mercy. The rot in his throat and the lump under his tongue would be the final pains he'd ever feel. He had been freed. Okay. Cool. Soft opening. Neato. Neato. We're going to end the part here. I'll see you around, everyone.